not know anything about sports is, I mean, it blows me away.
If you like sports and you're around somebody that doesn't, you're not going to feel comfortable enough to trust them right away.
It makes you feel awkward.
So who are these guys who make the others so nervous? You can't tell by looking at them, but they're out there. Guys who think the World Series and the Super Bowl are a snore.
Oh, you got a chart on 43? Sometimes we hear people just carrying on with such enthusiasm.
Take Dr. Paul Scheinberg of Atlanta.
Like, remember when he threw the ball? Remember when he caught the pass? What do you think about that tackle? Duh. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Architect Bob Santoriello of Brooklyn.
There was a lot of sports talk on the construction sites, and I feel a little bit resentful that I'm expected to know.
And sculptor Adam Leventhal of Los Angeles.
The sports fans' pleasure has almost nothing to do with anything they themselves do other than read statistics and watch TV.
Make no mistake, these are all physically fit guys. Paul, for instance, skis, scuba dives, and plays tennis. He just never felt the need to follow sports, until now. Paul has finally decided, at the age of 45, to learn about sports. Why? Because of his sons.
Most kids' dads that I know are interested in sports. I'm sure that if he had the chance and he really got to know the sports and how they're played, he'd want to watch them.
And so Paul signed up for a 5-hour class on basketball for sports illiterates.
The ball's loose. The referee will do this signal, loose ball foul. Let's everybody do this. Loose ball. That's great. It's great.
Barry Dreyer, who's seen at least 20,000 ball games himself, also offers courses in baseball and football.
We've had men who were hesitant to register for the class because they didn't want their friends to know that they didn't understand sports. 6 personal fouls, icing the shooter, double dribble, take it out of bounds, slap a tee on him, the paint. Any questions so far?
We checked in with Paul at the break to see how he was holding up.
Why do people need to know this?
But he hung in there.
Paul,
Hit me with it.
you have committed no team fouls. What would you do 4 times in the last 10 seconds?
Foul?
You foul me. I was here for Paul.
When did sports stop being fun?
When sports started representing your status or your place in the club or the crowd.
I was involved in odd sports. I would race bicycles. And, you know, my father would go to my brother's hockey game, but he wouldn't come to a bike race.
I was not very good in athletics. I was on some teams. I wasn't good enough to start, to be first string. And I felt kind of left out.
It was a yardstick by which you felt you didn't measure up.
Exactly.
But why do so many boys grow up to be rabid sports fans?
Most people don't ever have the experience of winning or succeeding. And for 2.5 hours on a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday afternoon, by God, they're king.
Psychologist Dr. William Bosay treats professional athletes and studies the impact of sports on fans.
In your opinion, a man who is rabidly, fanatically interested in spectator sports and so on is?
Probably tends to have a one-track mind, and those people betray an awful vacuum in their life in other areas.
A man who is not interested in spectator sports is?
Probably at peace with himself. They have achieved, they've made it, and they have already experienced that being king of the universe.
Who wouldn't feel like a king in front row seats at the Garden, where Paul got to show off his expertise at a Knicks game?
They did a fast break. You got to shoot the ball within 24 seconds. And so they blew the whistle before the shot, so it didn't count. Offensive foul. Offensive foul, yeah. This is what they call going for 3.
Oh, you're making this up.
No, look, he
I was right.
He called it right.
Everybody came away with a grudging respect for the athletes who've mastered the game, and even the fan who's mastered the rules, especially Paul. But he'd still rather take the boys camping.
It was Yogi Berra who had the final word on jocks and unjocks. If the people don't want to come out to the ballpark, he said, nobody's going to stop them.